Today we are going to be discussing the concept of theme and how it relates to literature. We're going to be, if you will take a minute right now and please record your essential questions in the margin of your notebook. Essential questions that we want you to be thinking about and be able to answer when you finish this station is: what is theme? How do I determine the theme of a story? And how do the elements of a story impact the theme? To analyze theme, we're going to be completing 3 activities. The first activity is going to be graphic organizer and taking notes. So if you will take a moment now and please tape your handouts into your notebook. Please tape the graphic organizer on the left-hand side of your notebook and the resources page on the right-hand side of your notebook. Please only tape these papers at the top because we're going to need the information. We're going to need the blank paper underneath them for our activities. Okay, underneath the graphic organizer side, if you would lift that up and please draw a T-chart and label that theme is and theme is not. And then in a few moments, we're going to watch a video and you're going to be recording notes in this T-chart. And then we will skip ahead in the video and you will list the 4 ways to find theme underneath this theme chart.
Hey, this is Mr. Santo. Let's talk about theme. Okay, so you have to find the theme in some book you read for school. Well, I think that with a few exceptions, theme is the most important element in the work of literature because the theme is the literary work's primary purpose. And by literary work, I mean any written work of art, like a novel, play, short story, poem, or even a screenplay. The theme, and here's your definition, is the central idea of a work of literature. I often oversimplify this term for students by saying it's kind of like the moral of the story, the life lesson the author wants you to take away from the book. It's the message or the meaning. And that meaning isn't just about the characters, it's more abstract than that. It applies to you and me and everyone. The theme is usually universal, but at the very least, it's an idea that's bigger than just these characters in this fictional world. Don't tell me that the theme in Lion King is that Simba had to go back to rule his kingdom. The theme is bigger than just that one character. The theme is that all people should live up to their responsibilities because they're needed by the people around them. You see, that's a theme. Also, theme is not the same as a subject. The subject of a work can usually be expressed in a word or two. Family, courage, the nature of love, right? That's the subject. However, the theme is the idea that the writer wishes to express about that subject. It's an opinion, not a fact. If you tell me that the theme is love, I'll say that's wrong, and I'll ask you, what about love? The theme isn't a thing. It must be an opinion about that thing. That's why I tell students not to merely Google what is the theme of this book, because you'll often get things like, one of the themes of this book is love or social justice. The way I define it in my classes, those are subjects, not themes. Love isn't a theme. Love stinks is a theme. Get it? And it would be best if the opinion you came up with wasn't too obvious, like, it's good to be fair. Well, that's pretty obvious, and almost no one would disagree with that, so it isn't very interesting. And if that's all you need for the assignment you're currently working, one of the best ways to find a good theme is A, to see what happens to the main character. Readers usually identify with the main character, especially if he or she is a protagonist, a sympathetic character with whom we identify. I say this because some main characters are unsympathetic, like the main character of Crime and Punishment, a very bad guy, and not all readers will identify with him. But in either case, if the main character changes over the course of the book in a good way, then a theme could be that readers should do whatever he did. So if a character is heroic in some way, the theme could be that those qualities are admirable and that we should be that way in our own lives. If a main character changes in a bad way, then the theme might be to avoid making that character's choices. For example, in Arthur C. Clarke's science fiction story, If I Forget Thee, O Earth, we learn that the main characters are stranded on the moon because the human race has made the Earth uninhabitable because of nuclear war. Because we see that the character's situation has changed in a very negative way, the theme is to avoid doing what they did. The theme of the story could be that mankind should learn to solve its conflicts without war or violence. And if you're interested in symbolism, here's a key to theme that served me well in college. Ask yourself, if the main character is a symbol for all mankind, what is the author saying about mankind? The answer to that could be your theme. B. Sometimes authors have a character just state the theme, often near the end of a book. It's often some meaningful conclusion about mankind or some aspect of life. The character might say something like, "Well, Bob, love is like that, isn't it? Sometimes it's sweet and sometimes it's sour, but I'll take my chances." So the theme could be exactly that love can be pleasurable and it can be painful, but it's worth the risk. Not all books contain a statement like that, but some do, and it's worth keeping an eye out for one. C. Another way to find a clue is to look at the title. That won't help with titles like Animal Farm or Romeo and Juliet, which are merely descriptive, but a lot of the time, authors put hints in the title. After you read Harper Lee's novel, To Kill a Mockingbird, think about when the killing of a mockingbird was talked about, and what was going on in the book at the time. What was being referred to? That will point you towards a main theme. Finally, D. Look at the main conflict. What forces are pitted against one another in this story, and who wins, and why? I don't mean what specific characters, I mean step back and look at what big group or idea is struggling against some other bigger group or idea. Let's say it's a ship captain and his crew struggling against a massive, uncontrollable white whale, like in Moby Dick. Look at that in an abstract way. That's mankind versus nature. So maybe the theme has something to do with man's conflict with the massive, uncontrollable forces of the natural world. So let's review quickly. I'll put in some time indexes too, so if you want.
Okay, please take a moment now and check your notes to make sure you have gotten down the information in your notes that you needed to have. Okay, now we're going to begin Activity 2. And in Activity 2, we are going to be practicing using our graphic organizer and notes. And we're going to be doing that by rewatching the Pixar short Bound In, and then you will develop a theme statement for Bound In using the graphic organizer.
There's a story on how strange is life with its changes that had happened not long ago. On a high mountain plain where the sagebrush arranges a playground south of the snow, lived a lamb with a coat of remarkable sheen. It would glint in the sunlight, all sparkling and clean, such a source of great pride that it caused him to preen. And he'd break out in high step and dance. He would dance for his neighbors across the way. I must say that they found his dancing and dancing, but also joining the play. Then one day, Then abounding up the slope came a great American jackalope. This sage of the sage, this rare hair of hope, caused to pause and check out the lamb. Hey kid, why the mope? I used to be something all covered with fluff, and I'd dance in the sunlight and show off my stuff. Then they hauled me away in a manner quite rough, and shared me and dumped me back here in the buff. And if that's not enough, now my friends all laugh at me, because they think I look ridiculous, funny, and pink. Pink? Well, what's wrong with pink? Seems you got a pink ink in your thing. Doesn't matter what color, that gets dope. Be it pink, purple, or heliotrope. Now, sometimes you're up, and sometimes you're down. When you find that you're down, well, just look around. You still got a body, good legs, and fine feet. Get your head in the right place, and hey, you're complete. Now, as for the dancing, you can do more. You can reach great heights. In fact, you can soar. You just get a leg up and you slap it on down, and you'll find you're up in what's called the bound. Bound and rebound. Bound and you're up right next to the sky. You think you can do it if you gave it a try. First get a leg up, slap it on down. So every year, long about May, they'd load him up and they'd haul him away, and they'd shave him and dump him, all naked and bare. He learned to live with it. He didn't care. He just bound and rebound. Now in this world of ups and downs, so nice to know there are jackalopes around.
Okay, at this point, you hopefully have your theme statement for Bound In. Please take time to check in with your teacher and show them your theme statement. Okay, the last activity is to apply. So we are going to now be trying to do this with a piece of literature. So you need to go to Google Classroom and you will read the short story Birdsong by Carson Payton, and then use the theme graphic organizer to complete that and then submit through Google Classroom. Okay, identifying theme review. Please make sure you have a protagonist. Make sure you've chosen a concept, not an emotion. Please use that list of thematic concepts we have given you. How does the author want the reader? What does the author want the reader to learn about from the protagonist's journey? Identify the major change in the protagonist. So how does the protagonist change from the beginning to the end? Write about what the protagonist learns. There is a formula. The protagonist learns what and then why.